has taught them not to be. From the time little girls are little, they're asked what they want to do when they grow up. And they're not allowed to say, I want to be a wife, a mother, and a homemaker. They will be mocked if they are told that, or asked, or if they say that. So they are taught from the time they are young that they need to go to college and have a career that makes money, because they are.
I never knew like how badly feminism has destroyed women from the time they could talk, and it's sad. There's nothing wrong with getting a little girl wanting to do certain things, and growing up to have her own job, her own business. But if she wants to be a wife, why not? Let her be that. Okay? Because, that's how the civilization keeps growing and passing on. Okay? Feminism is just leaving women with a lot of regrets. And it's sad that they just go after women when they're little girls, from the cradle to the grave.
Told that this is what provides worth and value in a woman's life. And most of them have not been raised by their mothers. Their mothers have been off at their careers. They can see that their mothers put their time and their energy and their effort into their careers and not to them. And they're raised by the example of their mothers and the screaming at them by culture to not be wives, mothers, and homemakers, but to be career women instead. So they grow up and go off to college. And I have to backtrack a little bit. When they're growing up, they're not taught anything about homemaking, housekeeping, cooking, baking, cleaning, doing laundry, keeping a clean and tidy home, and forget canning, sewing, and all of the traits that our past generations, way past generations, knew.
And that's how you got this Cardi B song, I don't cook, I don't clean, and this is how I got this ring. And also, with them not learning how to, knit and sew, you can make businesses out of that too. The trade, it's just a lot of things lost when you go against women being traditional women. A lot of things are lost, just like the things are lost when a man is not traditional.
How to survive. But because of the modern conveniences that we have, most women don't need to know all that kind of things, but they still need to know how to keep a home clean, tidy, cook and bake. But they actually cook and bake. They don't need to know anyone who can buy fast food, takeout food, processed cooked food in the grocery stores. So all the jobs that we're homemakers, we outsourced, and they haven't been taught them. They've been given little value. They have no value in our culture anymore. Being a highfalutin career woman and making money is what's cheered and congratulated in our culture. So then these little girls aren't taught anything about homemaking, being wives. They don't see examples of good marriages anywhere around them. They're taught that they need to pursue their dreams and their goals. It's all about them. Everything is about them and what they want. When they go to college, they can have sex freely, be promiscuous, as long as they take that pill, which is health destroying. And they have the option of abortion if they get pregnant. They're taught that they're to be competitive with men and that they're superior to men. And you see the slogan.
Let me rewind that again. She preaching.
Cheered and congratulated in our culture. So then these little girls aren't taught anything about homemaking, being wives. They don't see a need to cook and bake. But they actually cook and bake. They don't need to know anyone who can buy fast food, takeout food, processed cooked food in the grocery stores. So all the jobs that we're homemakers, we outsourced, and they haven't been taught them. They've been given little value. They have no value in our culture anymore. Being a highfalutin career woman and making money is what's cheered and congratulated in our culture. So then these little girls aren't taught anything about homemaking, being wives. They don't see examples of good marriages anywhere around them. And they're taught that they need to pursue their dreams and their goals. It's all about them. Everything is about them and what they want. When they go to college, they can have sex freely, be promiscuous, as long as they take that pill, which is health destroying.
Wow, she preaching. She telling the truth. I don't think she would have survived in being a professor, but she preaching. She preaching the truth. And you notice that there's a lot of selfishness. It's like, I want this, I want that, but they're not thinking, the modern woman is not thinking about what she could give to the man besides sex. What can you give this man? Can you be beside this man? I'm talking about a man that you've seen that he loves you and you love him, and you could trust him. Can he trust you? A lot of these women want a man with a 1950 mentality, but they want to be a new age woman.
And they have the option of abortion if they get pregnant. They're taught that they're to be competitive with men and that they're superior to men. And you see the slogan these days that the future is female. So they taught that they're the be all and end all. They don't need a man. It's completely opposite of what God's will is for women, and it does not make them into marriage material at all. So they spend 4 or more years in college and universities, and they go after their career every day. They make money and spend it on themselves, traveling and doing all they want to themselves, having the latest fashion and makeup and boob jobs and Botox and whatever, manicured nails and toes, and it's all about them and how they can spend money on themselves and do whatever they want. They're taught to be independent from men, strong, aggressive, competitive. They're taught to be
strong, aggressive, strong in the wrong sense, and very unattractive, unbearable at times, insufferable, uncompromising, bitter, have any past trauma, not willing to go get therapy, a lot of things.
A gentle and quiet spirit, they mock it. Just look at the way women respond when they come to my site. It's so contrary to everything that they've ever been taught. And then women come to me and say, there are no men to marry. Well, guess what? There's few women that men want to marry. I remember one time my son was dating a young girl. The first day she came to our house and we were eating dinner, and she just made a statement. I just hate to cook. I never want to cook. My son was like, no, thank you. It is mine. He likes to eat. He wants a wife who loves homemaking, who loves to cook and clean and wants to have babies. Women are taught to not even want babies today. Babies are pollute the earth. They're time wasters. They're taught to be selfish. In order to be a good wife and be good wife material, you need to be taught the complete opposite of what feminism has taught women today. They need to be taught to have gentle and quiet spirits, to love being home, and be taught all the ways of homemaking, to be good cooks, to be good cleaners, to work hard at home, to not be idle and gossipers, not to be lazy, but to glorify God in all that they do. They need to learn to love babies and want children. God calls children a blessing. He doesn't call having a career a blessing. This was the man's curse after the fall, was having to provide for the family. And careers make women hardened. Being at home with children
it makes them hardened because you're in a man's field and you have to put up with a lot of crap, like other men probably making dirty jokes about you, or men thinking you can't do the job because you're a woman, and you have to have a fortified skin. Me as a man on the job, if I'm dealing with crap from other dudes, I have to be an animal and be, for me, be aggressive. And even if it comes to the point that me and another man might throw down, that's the way you have to be. in man's world. And for a woman, she has to sacrifice her femininity to be masculine. You're going to have to do that. And that's what makes her hard. This is what makes her to a point of being aggressive, which also kills her dating prospects when she comes off the job. And masculine women, you know, they only get sex. They don't get a relationship. It's just facts.
Makes them softer. And our emotional, sensitive nature was created to be home with children. We weren't given the testosterone to be out in the workforce and to be competitive and driven. This is why women's suicide and depression rates are skyrocketing, because they're where God doesn't want them to be. So young women, I encourage you to begin on the narrow path that leads to life. Begin obeying God. His plan is best for you. He wants you to marry their children and guide the home. And if you don't marry, he has a plan for you too. He's good. And don't make it an idol in your life, but be holy in body and spirit. And find work to do that resembles homemaking and child caring, nurturing.
I commend this woman. I agree with what she's saying. I just think that, I could just imagine the torches and pitchforks that they come after her with. The feminazis coming after her. I'm like, wow, it's like the 300. And she's saying this stuff. I commend her. She's telling the truth, though. She's telling, this is the reason why you have women. Like, there's this woman who created Sex in the City, right? And she divorced her husband and went on to live her life. But then when she came to her 50s, she wanted a boyfriend. She wanted kids. And she couldn't have that because the boyfriend was old and he didn't want to have kids. And she was asked, well, what are you going to do now? Who's going to take care of you? She said, my friends are going to take care of me. Sad to say, you have women like this who are doing it just like this. They're spinsters now. And why do you think they have this? Even in China, they have this Shangmu, leftover women. Okay. This is not just jokes and giggles. This is actual truth. Okay. This is actual truth that goes on. Okay. This is the reality of women who want to be on the leftist side of things. This is their reality. Okay. And they're laughing at men who are traditional and the men you've divorced and you've crippled in child support, but your end is just as bad. It's just the thing is, it's like it comes at you pay later. There's a saying, and it comes from the Bible. Those who laugh now will be crying later.
Find something that is according to the way God created you to be, not aggressive and competitive and completely against womanhood. Learn to be feminine. As you learn to love being home, being a homemaker, loving children, being selfless, loving to serve, you won't have a good marriage if you go into marriage as a feminist because it's going to be all about you and what your husband can do for you. I know I was that way. You must learn that you go into marriage to serve and love your husband. You're his helpmeet. You go in to cook him the food that he likes. Keep the home clean and tidy and peaceful in a place that he wants to come home. Smile at him often. Don't quarrel and argue with him. Don't be contentious. Many men are walking around their homes on eggshells, so nervous about upsetting their wives and then getting the silent treatment and having sex withheld from them. And that's no way for a man to have to live.
And this is why some men cheat. And this is why some men just walk away from marriage. This is why you have MGTOW. This is why you have these red pill groups. I preferably be called red pill. Not really. I mean, I respect the views of some of MGTOWs, and there's some views I just don't get along with. But anyway, what she's saying is the truth. And a lot of men, we don't want to hear, we want to be coming home. We fight in the workforce, and then we got to fight you at home. We don't want that. And this is why some men walk off from marriage.
Other women need to be the wives, mothers, and the homemakers that God has called us to be. Quit listening to the lies of culture and feminism. The future isn't female. I don't want a future of female. I want men to be the leaders and the rulers in society. cultures and churches. God created them to do that. They're driven more by logic and reason than we are. We're driven more by emotions and feelings, which we do need to learn to take captive to the obedience of Christ and not allow them to control us. Every time we have a negative thought or feeling in our head, we need to take that out immediately and replace it with truth and become women of God who love unconditionally, love our husbands, serve them, please them, and obey God. And we need to.
This is also come by the fact if you know him beforehand that he loves and trusts you. It's not you both. Let's just put this out there. In marriage, you're both serving each other. It's a two-way street. It's a two-way street, not a one-way street. It's a two-way street. Okay? Man's providing, man's protecting, man's sheltering, woman's cooking, cleaning, taking care of the home. The woman's the field commander, and the man is the general. You know, the general comes home. What's up with the field? How's everything at the field at home? Okay, our son needs to go to the doctor to get his tooth removed. Our daughter needs money for piano lessons. The sink needs to be, the parts of the sink need to be replaced. Stuff like, see, that's how it goes. It's a team. But there's gender roles. People can't function as a team if they don't know their roles. Just like basketball, just like sports, just like team sports. People got a 3-point guard. You got a shooter, person who passes the ball, and stuff like that.
Glorify God in all that we do. Because His will is perfect, as I say consistently. Anyway, become marriage material. There'll be men who want to marry you if you become marriage material. And your marriage will be wonderful. Your husband will be able to come home to a wife that loves him, children who love him, children who are well disciplined to do home full time, raising their own children, teaching them, disciplining, nurturing, caring for them, protecting them from Sodom and Gomorrah that we live in. So anyway, women, focus on what God wants. Go on the narrow path that leads to life. It's the best path to be on.
And that's basically it. That's basically it. I know a lot of women are going to get mad, and not a lot of simps are going to get mad. You know, men who, basically want to worship women and tell them all what they want to hear, not what they need to hear. Okay. That's another thing too. Women respect men who tell them what they need to hear, not what they want to hear. All right. So that's about it. Later.